Would you like an opinion on a financial matter you're dealing with? Whether it's about retirement, investments, taxes, or 401ks, Scott Hansen and Pat McClain would like to help you by answering your call. To join Allworth's Money Matters, call now at 833-99-WORTH. That's 833-99-WORTH.
Welcome to Allworth's Money Matters. Scott Hansen.
Pat McClain, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here in studio with my longtime partner, Pat McClain, talking about financial matters, taking your questions, talking about some current things in the marketplace, and we're excited you're with us today.
Yes, and we are recording this Thursday, February 20th at 10:30 in the morning, Pacific. And the reason I like to say that is because in this environment,
yeah, there could be some major news by the time you hear
halfway through the show.
It's pretty rich news environment.
Yes, it is. It is. It's an interesting place. But Scott, I did want to bring this up. I had a client reach out to me and wanted to know what was happening to their IRA and all these terrible things that the new administration and legislation would do to it that would ruin it. And then I started thinking, I normally, when I get my emails in my personal box, I just hit the edit button, just go through and clink, 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 delete.
Are you one of those that empties your email box? Either everyth's filed or emptied?
Yeah,
me too. Otherwise,
yes.
And my wife's got like 80 million unread emails.
Oh no, I can't. I'm a big list guy, and I love crossing things off list.
And I don't like if email feels like someone's putting something on my list. So that's why I move them off.
So the reason I bring this up is I decided this morning I was just going to look at some of these emails rather than just completely delete them. These solicitations.
How many do you get? Don't you have a good spam filter that sucks them all in?
I don't know. Yeah, I get maybe 25 a day.
Of junk emails?
Yeah, I'm a popular guy.
Everyone's vying for your attention.
Lots and lots of people want to talk to me, Scott. You probably didn't know that about me. But so I decided to look at a couple of them. And this one I'm just going to go to. It's called the Sunrise Brief. And it starts, this law is set to significantly reduce the value of your 401k, your IRAs, and even your Roth IRAs, even your pension if you have one of those. Look at what the Wall Street Journal reported. And then I clicked through, just like, okay, what are they trying to do here? Why, other than just knowing that they want to communicate with me.
What are they selling here?
What are they selling? So you click through, and out of the 25 emails that I received this morning, maybe from last night at 8 o'clock was the last time I checked it, 4 or 5 of them had basically the same tone to them, which is...
What are they selling? Gold?
They're selling, there's an alternative to your Roth 401k and
which
IRA.
Is
you tell me what you
gold.
think it is. Gold, life insurance.
Metals. Oh, life insurance.
Life insurance, first in, first out, LIFO.
In a retirement account?
Well, take your money out and put it in.
Oh, don't have it in there
to begin with, or use life insurance rather.
Is that primarily what these are about?
Many of them, yeah.
It's interesting.
What they're trying to do is just engage you in a conversation.
Through fear. It's using fear.
And the reason they use the IRAs and 401ks is because that's where a vast majority of the liquid wealth of the United States, middle America lives.
Yes. Almost all of people's retirement accounts.
Yes.
Retirement savings, I should say, are in IRAs or 401ks.
So the reason I point this out is because I had clients reach out to me and say, should I be worried? And I said, well, not about this. Not about the IRAs or 401ks. They're not doing anything to your IRAs or 401ks that are going to endanger it. They're not going to all of a sudden put a surplus.
Who's they?
The
people
existing administration.
They only have so much power. They can't legislate. They might be trying right now, but I mean,
and I just thought I'd point it out that if you've
had clients reach out to you,
that's why I started looking at these things. It's like, where's this coming from? And the client says, well, I'm getting emails.
How many years? Think of a client who reached out to you. How many years has that person been a client of Pat McClain?
25.
25 years. You would think after 2020, maybe they're just looking for an excuse to talk to you.
Yes.
I'm just thinking after 25 years, it's like if there's an issue, you'll reach out to them. Part of the reason someone hires an advisor is they don't have to worry about this noise.
Yes. But Yes. Some clients reach out for non-financial things.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Right? They've got a trusted advisor friend that they're looking for some help. But anyway, I wanted to throw it out there. Don't pay any attention to that garbage. It's us all marketing.
You know what's surprising this market cycle, with how much gold has risen the last few years? The fact that usually we get calls on the program about gold. We get clients saying, why don't we have more gold in the portfolio? It's different this time. And maybe it's because the stock market's been so much on fire that you haven't missed out on anything. Like, gold's up, but so is everything else. So who cares?
Yeah, another asset.
Not everything's. I mean, real estate's not up stuff during the last couple of years, but stock market's been on a tear the last couple of years, and gold has. But it hasn't been a time where it's usually people. The financial market's the only markets that I know of where people like to buy more when it gets expensive, right? And they like to sell when things are on sale.
The thing that
when prices go up, they think, "Oh, isn't that good? Maybe I should buy some." When prices go down, they go, "Oh, this is bad. I should get out." It's the opposite of everything else in our life.
But Scott, look, the thing about gold, which I just truly have never ever understood, I just don't understand it. And I'm just flat out don't understand it. Is the price of gold ultimately is actually based on the cost of getting it out of the ground and refining it.
Because there's plenty of gold actually in
the world.
Who knows how much there is, right? There might be. I might have heard the other day someone said there's probably enough oil for 500 years. Wasn't that many? Was my lifetime it was supposed to run out.
40 years ago.
As a child, I was terrified of it. Existential threat.
Yes. You're like, So I just don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Well, you do understand it.
I understand that there's lots of emotion behind it that's running it.
And people will build their own case for it if they want to. We can build a case for anything as humans if that's what we'd like to do.
Yeah. I mean, we all create our own cognitive biases.
I mean, the only time you really want to have a bunch of gold is if the entire world blows apart. But then you really want more guns and a bunch of young people to fight for you.
And bullets and
let's really
caches of food.
That's right.
places in the mountains.
And a bunch of young people willing to fight for you.
Okay.
I mean, if it gets that bad, someone's going to come steal your gold. Take it from you.
That's right.
I mean, people try to look at how do I eliminate every single risk in my financial future? Well, it's impossible.
Yes. Yeah.
We can do our best to minimize as much as we can, which is one of the things we like to do here. I mean,
pay off your mortgage.
Some really basic things, right?
Buy some life insurance. Save some money. Keep it well diversified. There we go. Show's over.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, let's take some calls. If you want to join us, you have a question for us, we'd love to. We always love taking calls. It's part of our favorite thing of the program. And to join us, you can send us an email, questions@moneymatters.com. We'll schedule a time to get you on the show. We're talking now with Jimmy. Jimmy, you're with Allworth's Money Matters.
Hi, how you doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah, I just have a simple question, actually. On the current tax bill, talk about the tax cut for the no tax on Social Security and also extending the TCJA. What do you think the chance to pass this year? And also, what's the impact on Social
What's a TCJA?
What's the TCJA?
Tax Cut Job Act, the Trump tax bill in 2016.
Okay.
So what's the chance? Well, we'll address that, Jimmy, and also kind of talk about just a broader approach to investing based upon future tax law legislation one night. Right? So he's speaking, I think it was 16 or 17 maybe, the Trump tax cuts that are set to expire December of this year. The Republicans, it sounds like they're trying to have one big, beautiful bill. It's been the best bill ever. It sounds like they're trying to cram everything into one bill and somehow
run it through the sausage machine,
the reconciliation process or something. I'm not a political expert. There's probably right now the amount of power this administration has is more than I've seen in my lifetime.
It's mind blowing.
So there's
and by the way, they're pushing stuff through.
Whether you like it or not, we're just talking about reality.
Yeah, and they're doing things that are outside their legislative scope. This administration is, knowing that it's going to get tossed out in the courts. But by that point in time, most of the
Cat's out of the bag. Yeah.
right, most of whatever they wanted to get done is done.
So, if I were a betting man, I'd tend not to bet, but there's an extremely high likelihood that we'll have an extension of the tax cuts. I think the elimination of tax on Social Security.
I don't know. That just goes against everything that over the last 40 years that has been in motion. Across the board tax, no tax on Social Security. Scott. Across the board. I make $2 million a year. Maybe, because the people that actually, it's so little.
I don't know how much revenue we're talking there.
Yes, it's so little.
Relative to the overall, it is relatively, because right now, if your income is low, you don't pay any tax on your Social Security.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of retirees. Look, the majority of retirees rely upon Social Security for the majority of their income. So there's a lot of retirees that aren't paying tax on it anyway. If your income is, middle class or higher in retirement, up to 85% of your benefits become taxable.
It income's over $44,000, including a municipal
provisional
bonding.
income, which is a crazy formula. So I don't know if that's going to happen. The tax on tips,
I can't see how that could happen. I can't see how it could happen. Maybe it will happen, but I don't know how they could absolutely administer it. I go to my lawyer and I say, hey,
I know you're $600 an hour. I'll pay you $400 and I'll give you a little tip.
That's right. I'll pay you $300. You're $600 an hour. I'm going to pay you $300. Oh, and by the way, I'm just going to tip you out $200 an hour. Right? I mean, I just don't. I don't know how that could happen. Would I be building? I guess the question is, what's the probability of the tax? Am I doing anything differently with myself or my clients in anticipation of? Well, what I know I'm not doing is pushing to fund their estate.
Most people are waiting right now because and one of the big planning opportunities, particularly with people that have accumulated a lot of wealth during their lifetime, is on estate planning, because the exemption amount is scheduled to reduce back to about $6 million a person or something like that.
From 13, 14
Almost
million,
14,
somewhere, somewhere around there.
So a couple right now can pass on $28 million at their death or while they're living, and if the tax laws aren't extended, that number is going to revert to about $12 million.
And we talked about this last October, November, about how you should, depending upon what administration gets in here, that you should actually be thinking about that. I'm not. I don't
have any clients that are concerned right now. It's like, we'll just wait and see.
We'll wait and see.
Because the planning opportunity is, let's get the money out of our estate today while we can. Let's set up a trust or give it to our kids or whatever. Get it out of the estate today and take advantage of that bit before it gets reduced. But no one's concerned about that.
That's right.
Now.
What other thing are you doing?
But it's still relatively early in the calendar year.
What other things are you doing with clients that around this administration that, for tax purposes,
no one's expecting capital gain taxes to go up.
No.
I think most people are betting that's going to get continued.
The SALT, but there's nothing you could do about that.
There's some discussion about increasing the SALT limits. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if the SALT limit went from $10,000 to, that's the state and local taxes.
Deduction
moves from $10,000 to $20,000 or $30,000. I don't think it'll be just unlimited like it was in the past.
But what planning could you do around that? It is what it is. You tell someone to make less money because of the SALT?
Let's say someone's got a family business they've been running for 30 years, and they're in the process. They're going to be selling it. Like, it is what to your point, it is what it is. We don't have any real clarity on we know what's going to. We know. Well, we don't even know what's going to happen in 2025, for that matter.
Yeah. So there is nothing. So the question goes, what is the probability? The question, what are the chances that this thing is going to change? And even if those are the only things I can think of that are playing into the financial planning realm. Maybe I'm missing
There's
couple.
There's a few other little things here and there that are a little more esoteric, but the pass through with small businesses with a certain amount of revenue, and there's a few little things here and there that could change. But by and large, I think the bigger thing to pay attention to on your own portfolio, like how can you best diversify your tax strategy with your life savings?
Put your bonds in the qualified, things that distribute very little dividends or capital gains.
Who's the new? I can't keep track of all the new people in Trump's administration, but the guy who's the Mr. Tariff guy.
Oh,
Nick, something like
yeah,
that. Whatever.
Peter. Peter.
So he was talking about replacing the income tax with the tariff tax.
Yeah, Peter Navarro.
Is that him?
Peter Navarro. Yeah, I listened to a podcast with him 2 days ago.
Okay, so one of the things he was saying is we can use tariffs to get rid of the income tax.
Oh,
I'm just saying. I don't think that's where we're going to go. But you could clearly picture a world in the future where there's a combination of a value-added tax, what Europe does.
Yes. Income tax.
And actually, much of Europe, their income tax rates are lower than the United States. Yeah. The top income tax rates are lower than the United States, and they have this value-added tax.
And actually, you could see that a value-added tax is regressive, not a progressive. Do you want to explain what the difference between a regressive and progressive?
Well, I mean, the income tax rates are the opposite. Progressive. Right. The higher your income, the higher percentage you end up paying. The lower your income, the lower percent, or nothing. You pay nothing. Regressive hits the opposite. So regressive, if you don't make much money, all of your income is going to meet your basic needs.
So a value-added tax means that you're actually paying taxes a larger percentage of your income than the rich fat cat
who spends almost nothing of the. I don't think Warren Buffett spends much.
Yeah,
of his
he's not spending
net worth.
Yeah, he's probably spending 0.0001% of his net worth to live. Right?
Costs him nothing compared to what he's got.
Right, and they own Berkshire Hathaway, so he probably gets a discount on the net jets. Yeah, I can't. So there will be changes in the tax strategy, but I don't think that the portfolio. But
even when you're looking at things like Roth conversions
every year,
step up basis
every year.
I mean, it's important to look at, and particularly the younger you are and the longer you're looking at, like how do we plan to have the most diversified tax strategies possible?
And the idea of putting income producing in your IRA, and people, well, that's for the long term. Well, look, you got to, you want that thing that delivers the income inside the IRA because it's the most tax efficient.
And the thing that has more capital gain outside the retirement accounts.
As long as we have a step up in basis. If they change the step up in basis, which is the step up in basis is
a death.
Yeah. And who did we have on a couple of weeks ago? From our show that told us about the step up in basis. It's because the record keeping was so poor years ago that no one could actually figure it out. But that may change because the record keeping's pretty right on today. Pretty right on. What am I, from the 70s?
It's right on.
Right on. Hang loose.
Anyway, who knows what'll happen with tax law?
I don't know.
But You get to retirement, you have some money in a brokerage account. Maybe you have some individual stocks or you have some ETFs in there. You've got some money, some cash and savings. Maybe it's in treasury bills or it's in a money market account earning something. You've got money in your 401k or IRA, traditional 401k, tax deferred. You've got some money in your Roth. And perhaps you have some real estate as well. If you don't want to manage the real estate, take that out for a second. I mean, if you can get into retirement and have pretty good sized buckets of each of those,
you're fine.
It gives you tremendous flexibility because when it's like, hey, we need to replace our car, it's going to cost us $50,000 to replace our car, whatever a new car costs.
You can manage the tax efficiency, but deciding what bucket to pull it out of.
And as tax law changes on year-to-year basis, you can say, they don't like us doing this, so I won't pull that lever this year. I'm going to pull this lever this year.
Yeah, and bunching charitable contributions.
Yeah, there are some planning opportunities for sure.
Yes.
Anyway.
But there's always been. Well, prior to the Roth, it was much more difficult.
There's always been planning opportunities.
Yes, but
there always will be.
But prior to the Roth IRA just opened up a whole new book of planning opportunities
for people who saved well.
Oh,
or not saved well.
Yeah.
I was talking my son. He's a pilot with JSX. He's a co-pilot, right? So he's got I talked to him last night. He's got 900 some hours with them. So it's a good thing they have an experienced someone with many more hours next to him. But that's how the game goes, right? That's how we all have to start in our career somewhere. So he's a pilot in the growing ranks. But they pay him next to nothing. I mean, it's
because they can.
Because they can. And he's trying to get enough hours by the end of March, so his pay will go up quite a bit. It's still
not a lot.
I calculated oh man, that was not.
Recapture on education, 6 years, 7 years.
Well, yeah, but a couple years from now he'll be making good money. So he's funneling the maximum he can into his Roth 401k.
Yes,
and so he's telling me how much he's got saved already. He says my challenge is I'm watching my personal bank account decline, and I said
yes.
Yes, that's okay. And he understands that concept because it's no different than him saying I'm going to take 20 grand, 25 grand, whatever the number is, out of my savings and stick it into.
Yes, but the Roths also have more liquidity than a regular IRA too.
Yeah, for many reasons. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, all right, let's continue on. Enough of this.
Would you have you and Valerie booked a flight on one?
No,
of his,
and I've not flown with them and
ever.
My wife has, my sister-in-law has, and I said to him, he's in Phoenix. I said, I got to at least fly out there for the day someday and have you, if you rent a small plane and take me up or something, I have to fly with my son because I feel, I'm starting to feel like a bad dad. I haven't seen where he lives.
He's renting.
He's renting.
You don't have to see where the kid rents. You don't. My wife, we went to San Diego. I have two kids living in San Diego. My wife's like, oh, we need to go see where they live. I go, they're renting. They're renting. We don't need to see where they live.
Did you not?
No, we went. So
okay,
where they lived.
I'm like, how'd that argument go?
And then they talked about decorating ideas, of which my kids listened patiently and then did nothing. Yes, but they're renting. You don't have to. That's just a written rule, unwritten rule.
Anyway, I've not flown with them. I'd like to fly.
That would be nice.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk. And by the way, he's become a fan of the program.
Your son has.
Yes, he's listened to many episodes.
Thanks, Blake. Blake, if you enjoy the show, will you please rate us? And there's something else we're supposed to do. Rate and follow so that it comes to your feed every week.
Oh, yeah. We're talking marketing people said to bring that up.
Rate and follow so that it comes to your feed. Blake, if you could do that and anyone else that happens to be listening.
Yeah, follow. Because that's how I follow several.
Yeah, I do.
And every day I get a handful of podcasts and I listen to some. And I don't listen to others. All right, let's continue on with calls. We're talking with William. William, you're with Allworth's Money Matters.
Hello, Scott and Pat.
Hi, William.
In lieu of the recent announcement by Walmart due to the tariffs, and now I see the stock market's really tanking, what sectors of the economy do you think I should avoid investing in?
What sectors do you think you should avoid?
Well, for one, automobiles.
Okay.
I heard retail wasn't going to be affected, but now Walmart seems to feel that way. It's okay. And then I understand lumber because all the lumber comes from Canada. And that's all I can think of. I'm just wondering what hidden ones that I should be aware of.
And what do you think is going to happen because of these tariffs?
Well, I think Trump's using them as a bargain chip for sure. They might go lower, they might go higher. I think myself it's going to tank the economy, but that's just my opinion. I'm wondering what yours is.
I'm not worried about it even a little.
Neither am I.
Really?
Not even a little. And I think that you said the key word right there, which is bargaining chip.
Uh-huh.
Right? He's
right.
Look, like him or don't like him. Right? I am not a huge Trump fan. I just flat out but I like many of his policies. But I got to tell you what I'm impressed by is he brings people to the table for a conversation.
That's for sure.
Look, you cannot negotiate a deal unless you're sitting at a table having a conversation. And he forced countries to the table to have conversations by coming in and saying, I've got a huge hammer and I'm not afraid to use it. And he will use it.
Right.
I mean, he's already used it, right? Mm-hmm. And so because of that, look, I listened to this podcast with Peter Navarro a couple days ago, and I think it was on the Daily, and he said something that was really, really interesting. My older brother Chris and I actually had this conversation about this 2 or 3 weeks ago, which is, look, if we as a country lose our manufacturing capabilities, we are in great risk in a war. You think about how we won World War II. How did we win it?
Lots of tanks.
Lots of tanks. Planes, ships, those things, right? That's how we won it. And obviously we put people on the ground, but we had a manufacturing base that they deployed, boom, like just, Rosie the Riveter, the whole country.
We've got phenomenal natural resources.
Unbelievable natural resources. So, will there be some pain getting there? Yes, but the reality is we need to bring back much of our manufacturing so that we actually have a stable, not only an economy, but the middle class and lower class actually can be employed in manufacturing. Is it going to drive prices? Yes, it's going to drive prices. I mean, there's no question. Are people still going to consume?
And maybe there'll be tariffs put in place where we go into recession.
That right, but the counter to that is that if the cost of oil comes down, that will offset a lot of this, right? So,
and for a long-term investor, you don't really care about this year or next year. You care about what things are like 5 years plus.
And listen, there's people that are listening to this program
that we're idiots
and hate Trump, right? And hate Trump.
Right.
Look, whether it was Trump or someone else doing this, I love the fact that there's conversations. People were at the table saying.
Well, there's lots of conversations on lots of different topics that many Americans think these are conversations we need to be having, and we wish our government had been having these conversations that haven't and are finally happening now, whether it has to do with our health as a nation. Right?
And who knows where that's going to go?
I'm talking about just our basic health, whether or not you like,
Yeah. So we don't want to turn this completely into a political.
It's obviously a very political time right now.
But these policies are going to affect us in the short term. There is no question. There will be some pain. But as a long-term investor, right? But it could go the other way too.
But here's a couple things to think about. Let's assume, William, that you're convinced that the markets are going to have some sort of sell-off. There'll be a bear market. The stocks are going to fall. And historically, stocks have fallen 20% or more about every 4 years, last 100 years. So we're kind of due for it, 20% drop or more. And historically, the markets have always recovered and went higher than they were before. So let's assume those two things are accurate again. First, if you're going to get on the sidelines, you have to be right on two areas. One is, when do you get out? The second is, when do you get back in? And that's really difficult.
In the market as a whole, and sector rotation is even more difficult. Because what you're talking about is sector rotation.
Right.
Let's move out of this industry, into this industry, into that industry. And there's been some studies, and there's enough ETFs out there right now that specialize in just specific sectors.
Exchange-traded funds.
Yeah, exchange-traded funds. And so you can look at flows, money that what people put into those sectors. And if you look at how the performance of the sectors have done relative to how people who've owned those sectors, they would have been better off not trying to allocate their money because most of them underperform what they would have had they just bought everything and went to sleep.
What that means is they put the money in after the run-up, is because, so you look at the flows and you look at the returns. Most investors underperform the sectors they invest in because of when and how they invest in it.
They buy when things are high.
So how much of your portfolio is in the stock market, William?
Most of it.
How old are you?
I'm 70 and a half.
Are you living on any of it?
I'm still working. I'm afraid to retire.
How much, approximately, if I may, what's the size of your investments?
Right now they're $500,000, but when I retire, I'll be getting my pension, which will be about $1 million.
And how much do you earn at your job?
Over 120 a year.
And are you afraid of retiring from only financial issues or from a variety of issues? Let me say reluctant to retire. You say hesitant to retire.
Yeah, well, I'm hesitant because I like the people I work with.
Okay.
I like my job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then no one said you had to.
understand that.
No one said you had to retire.
I don't think so. Maybe they have.
No, I don't work with you, so I don't work with you. So, have you visited HR lately?
Well, I would say that the climate has changed as far as older workers.
That's right.
They're more valued.
And
There's not as many.
yeah, more values, but not by HR.
Okay, so you know what, you might benefit from sitting down with
There's
a
no
financial
question. I'm just
advisor.
thinking, a financial plan, those that have gone through, and there's studies on this, those that have gone through a financial planning process, when they meet with a financial advisor, have a financial plan, whether it's written or it's just something on the computer screen you're looking at together, having a financial plan that looks at your probabilities of success in the future. They can go through a variety of different scenarios. So
What if the market falls by 20%? What if inflation moves to 8%?
if we have another
10%?
great recession like we had, how is this going to impact
And they'll
things?
tell you, okay, you have a 97% probability of having money till you're 110. But there are four things.
And the studies have shown those that have gone through that process have much more confidence about their financial future. And it's not relative to their net worth either.
That's my point, Scott. There are four things that make for successful retirement. One is money, the confidence in it, not the amount, the confidence that you have enough, right? The other is people, purpose, and health. Those are the four. If you look at what makes a successful, and we actually hired a firm and we did studies and we actually did workshops all around what makes for a successful retirement. Those four things, right? People, purpose, health, and confidence in your money, right? So what you just said, right? Your job sounds like it's fulfilling it right now. It's people and purpose, right?
Right.
So if you're being satisfied, then don't feel the need to retire. But at some point in time, if you're like every other person on this earth, your health will become an issue in whether you continue to work,
right.
which is why you want to go through a financial
that's
plan.
coming.
Yeah,
Right.
you want to go through a financial planning process so that you're confident, at least with the amount of money that you have. And I would recommend highly. They'll charge you a couple $1,000s and bring you through the process. You could do it either in person or by Zoom. Just hire a qualified advisor.
And to get to the point where you're not thinking about Walmart, what's going on with Walmart?
Well, of course, Walmart's going to say that they're going to come out and say that there's headwinds ahead because of this. Look where they get most of their products from.
right.
Naturally, if I was the CEO of Walmart, I would say it too. I would say I'd push back on tariffs.
But also think, well, you're 70 years old, right? So your life expectancy, if you have a normal life expectancy, is probably, 15, 20 years, probably 20 years.
Right. 20 years.
So 20 years is a long time. We're going to have many different administrations over that time. Congress is going to actually probably be the same people wheeling them in.
We hope to have many different administrations. We hope to have many different administrations.
Because Trump's the healthiest president that's ever lived. Apparently.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
All the
His health
doctors,
is incredible.
all the doctors say. All the doctors.
But our point is things are going to change. Things are going to come and go. There's going to be other concerns. There's going to be other threats. That's a normal part of life. And you could either, from a financial standpoint, you can choose to get caught up in that and have it impact your daily life, or you can structure things in such a way, have a plan in place, and live your life. And the reality is, most investors do much better by having a plan in place, a strategy in place, and not reacting on a daily basis or weekly or even an annual basis to what's happening out there. Yeah. Because most professional money managers can't outsmart the market. They would be better just buying and hold long term. And on the ones that pick stocks, most of them don't do better than just owning the index. So with all their teams of smart analysts working for them.
So anyway, it was a pleasure speaking with you. I'm glad you enjoy your job. How many hours a week do you work?
40.
Yeah. All right. Are you married?
Not right now, no.
Well, that leads me to believe that you might be soon.
Not right now.
Not right now.
Are you married? Not right now.
Not right now. All right.
Ask me in a couple of weeks. You never know. Appreciate the call, William.
Right.
Yeah, wish you well. You know, Pat, it's
that's funny, Scott. Not right now.
Confidence about.
I wonder how many times he's been married. It's like
it reminds me of the time, Pat. Someone called and they started the call. They said, "You're asking about the questions where they live." I think I was like 40 something. Well, I live with my mother. And they went on to explain that he moved into care for his mom, and we went through the whole plan. At the very end, he said, "Hey, one little piece of advice: when someone asks where you live, tell them your mother lives with you. It sounds much better than you live with your mom."
It does. It does.
And William, he's just not married right now.
Not right now. I'm on the apps. Oh, gosh. I'm swiping right, left, up, down. I'm waiting for the AI to find the right girl for me, or man. I don't know what William does.
The algorithm.
The algorithm will take it out. The algorithm.
But to back to the confidence of money. Oftentimes, as people's net worth increases, they don't necessarily have more confidence about their finances. They might have even greater concern about their assets. And you've seen that, Pat. Like people, as their net, you're pointing to yourself.
I'm the poster child.
I feel the same way. It's the most amazing thing.
And I have a plan, right? I'm really confident in it, but everyone, there's, it creeps in. There's doubt. There should be doubt. Being skeptical and having cynicism in your investments is a really, really good thing.
Agreed. But having a plan certainly, intellectually, you're fine financially.
That's right.
I know intellectually, I'm fine financially. But there's something weird that goes on with the mind. And I think it's similar for those that have saved well, because the reason you have assets is because probably for the vast majority of people who have assets, this is how they got their assets. They were young. And they're like, holy crud, I got to figure out how to make some money, support myself, support my family. I'm going to start this. I'm going to get really good at my career, or I'm going to start this business, and I'm going to make sure I can make some money to take care of and I'm going to save along the way. I'm going to live below my means. I'm going to save, and then all of a sudden, one day, your business is sold, or you've got so much.
You retire.
You're like,
what do I do?
I've got way more than I ever thought I was going to have. But that kind of feeling I had of, I better make sure I'm safe for tomorrow and better accumulate for tomorrow, doesn't really go away.
Well, you show me someone that doesn't worry about money, and I'll show you someone that doesn't have any.
Was my mom 85 or 86? I think she'll be turning 86. She's
appreciating that you've told everyone how old your mother is. Does she listen to the show?
No.
Okay, so it's all right.
She never has. Well, I think people can pretty much guess. I'm almost 60. Like, how old do you think my mom?
I don't know.
I've got 3 older siblings.
Okay, so your point being that she worries about money?
I'm mention it now, because after this...
Does she worry about money?
She saves on a monthly basis.
Oh.
She's got like a savings account. For... She shouldn't travel anymore, so I don't know what I don't know what
for something.
Yeah,
dip in the market.
That's just her whole life, and she can't really change that.
She's buying in the dips.
Shouldn't follow the markets much.
No,
because she always told me that she'd just move in with me if things didn't work out.
That's great.
Which Valerie's excited about.
All right. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
All right. But the line of the year so far is, William, I'm not married right now. That's so far the line of the year.
Not currently. That was not currently.
Not currently.
Not right now. And not
What did he say,
Same thing.
Pietro? Did he say currently or?
Wait,
Not right now.
Same kind of concept.
Anyway, we're going to clip that one. The line of the year.
Are you married? Not right now. Are you just divorced last week? I mean, what happened? Not right now.
70 years of age.
All right, let's talk to Yvonne in California. Yvonne, thanks for holding as we've been chatting away, but thanks for joining All Worth Money Matters.
Hi, I can't beat that line, so.
No kidding.
So my question is, I'm 76. I'm selling my house. My husband is in assisted living, so I'm selling the house and providing half of the income from the house to him, or proceeds of the house to him for his assisted living, and then I'll have the other half. After I pay capital gains on it, I live in San Diego. I won't be able to afford much.
Well, why? Wait, is this a primary residence?
Yes.
And why do you have?
Well,
why
she probably has more than $500,000 of gain.
What are you selling the house for?
Because I need to pay for my husband.
No.
How much are you selling the house for?
Oh, probably about 1.6 or 1.7.
Okay, there's the answer. And what did you pay for the home?
110.
Okay, that's why we got.
Yeah.
Okay, so your question is what? You have $600,000 after taxes.
Yes.
And sorry you're in this situation with your husband. And how long has he been?
Thank
How long
you.
has he been in? I mean, it's and you're
Since
relatively young.
April. But now he's telling me his son is trying to poison him. So
Oh,
He's-
I'm so sorry.
yeah,
It's
it's interesting.
Oh, I've seen this. It is awful. It's awful.
Yeah.
And what's the cost on a monthly basis for this?
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question.
How much is it costing, or on an annual basis for your
Oh.
husband's care at this point?
It's about $8,000 a month.
All right.
And so you've split the assets. That's what you told us.
Mhm.
And what else is there?
Yes. I have about $600,000 in various investments, and about $60,000 in cash. So my financial planner, who I've had for like 30 years and I really trust, said that I might be interested in buying, instead of buying a condo, to rent. There's a specific area in San Diego that I want to live in. If I buy something there, I can get a condo the size of a garage. But if I rent, I can do better.
Yeah.
Where do your children live?
Chicago. So at some point,
That's quite different than
I'm
San
gonna-
Diego.
I'm going to have to go back there because they're not coming here.
And
I don't know why, but
How many children do you have?
just one.
And they live in Chicago. And and are you close to the child?
Yes.
And what is the child? What are the discussions with the child?
She wants me to come when I'm ready. I have a lot of friends here, and I'm very social. So if I went back there, I wouldn't know anybody besides her.
How long has your husband been ill?
Well, he's been in assisted living since April.
Yeah,
He's been ill for probably, longer than that. But
And
I'm going to ask a difficult question, but how much longer do you expect him to live?
he's very healthy.
is he?
Yeah, except for his mind.
It is
Cruelest.
Oh, it is. At that point in time, you're just like, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard to talk about, but it's true. It's like, why are we doing this?
Have you considered a reverse mortgage on this house to stay in the house
I
for
don't
longer?
really want to. I've thought about it, but I don't really want to stay there.
You don't want to stay in the house. Okay.
Yeah, it's too big for me. It needs a lot of work.
So your financial advisor said rent. I'm actually
I would
I'm in
agreement.
I'm in the camp. And have you sat down with an attorney? You've obviously figured out how to split these assets in case
Yes.
you blow through all the money and you need some state aid, correct?
Yeah.
I'm in the camp with your financial advisor,
am too.
and the reason is the next 12 to 24 months, right? If you look at the average stay of a patient, especially in a full skilled assisted living, the average length of time that they stay in there, obviously, it's a bell curve. It's not that long. It truly isn't that long. It's typically less than 23 months.
I think that's a skilled care facility. It's for male. It's less than a year.
Yeah. So
but it's not skilled care.
He's going to be soon, though.
Probably.
Yeah.
He's going to be soon. I'm in the camp with your advisor.
I agree. I think staying in your community is highly important.
It is so important.
Much more important than a return on an investment.
It's so important because you just said it. You said I'm hunting. You live in San Diego. I live in Sacramento. You make me move to Chicago? Come on. I mean, right? Other than the pizza and the hot dogs.
My plan would be that I would go there and then come and stay with a friend during the winter in San Diego.
Yeah, I'm with your financial advisor, and I'm sure you've had these in-depth conversations with your advisor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you. By the way, I'm glad you and your advisor have each other.
Yeah, and like I said, I've known her for 30 years, and I trust her implicitly. So. Yeah. I had never thought about renting because I was a real estate appraiser, residential for 20 years. So I've always been in that.
But look at this. I mean, you don't know what your time frame is.
We're not saying forever.
No,
Yvonne, we're not saying forever, right? That's the.
It's like right now we don't know if it's gonna cost $100,000 a year for 18 months or 10 years. Mm-hmm. Right? That's true. That's your concern. That's why you split some assets, and but you're ready to move out of the house. I totally agree with your advisor.
Yeah, and remember, it's not forever.
Okay.
So if you in a year you might say, okay, now's the time to buy a house, or maybe now's the time to. Are there co-ops that have you looked at in San Diego?
Not really. No, not where I want to be.
Got it.
Yeah, and it could be that you invest in a rental in a different part of town or somewhere else, so you have some money invested in real estate.
So you have a placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
You have a placeholder. Good way to put it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I mean, I wouldn't be in any rush to do that.
I wouldn't. So. Yeah, I agree with your advisor. So, and I'm happy that you have an advisor to walk with you through this part of life because it is not easy. It is awful. No. It is. Yeah. My heart goes out to you. It's just, it's terrible. It's, there's no other way around it.
Yeah, it's hard.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Bless you.
Well, I appreciate your advice. Thank you.
Right, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. It's,
how many times I've seen this so many times. It's awful. It's
so rare that like a couple dies within a couple days of each other. Right?
Yes,
you hear those stories, and
like okay.
I had a friend of mine passed away. He's 85. And he was in great health, and my wife called me shocked. Bryce had passed away, and he was 85. I said, "What happened?" He loved the Sierras, the high Sierras. Loved them. Hiked. He was with his sons on a camping backpacking trip. They were fishing, and he went for a walk around the side of the lake and died out. And I said to my wife,
well, how great is that?
I said, what a way to go. She's like, what? I'm like, what a way to go. No one gets out here alive. You look at that versus what poor Yvonne's husband's going through. And not just the impact that he didn't even know where he is anymore or whatever, but the whole family and the friends and everyone that it's tremendous stress for everybody.
Yes.
And,
it's an issue. And
30 years ago, a lot of people were buying long-term care insurance to deal with these things. It's the marketplace is such that it's almost cost prohibitive.
Yes.
I mean, if you have enough money to pay for the long-term care insurance,
you probably have enough to insure it. Yes, you have enough that you can self-insure.
By the way, we're about to finish up here, but let's pivot to a different topic really quick. Insurance.
I love talking about insurance.
Fire insurance.
Unbelievable. I just told my wife 3 days ago, expect a 50+% increase in our cost of fire insurance.
My insurance premium is up triple from where it was 10 years ago.
Okay.
Triple from 10 years ago. But the interesting thing, I mean, I saw on the paper, the California market, everything's so highly regulated, and State Farm says we need to increase our premiums X amount, and the insurance commissioners said, no, you can't.
There you go. Well, they were one of the few that actually stayed in the marketplace. And because they poorly underwrote this. And they were my insurer, by the way.
State Farm?
Yes.
You haven't been canceled yet?
No.
I got a notice of non-renewal a couple days ago.
From State Farm?
No, different
company.
But
I expect it any day now. And then I get to go to a state plan.
The fair plan.
I don't know.
That's what they call it, the fair plan.
Okay.
But it's one of those areas that I look at it and I say, if the government just got out of the business of trying to regulate it, like there's certain ground rules, you can't defraud anybody. Let the market decide what the price is. Let companies compete. They can run risk scenarios and set a premium, and another company come along and say, that shouldn't be $15,000 a year. I think we can underwrite it for $12,000.
Or maybe we get these people to harden their houses against a wildfire. And I'm in the middle of my pool man is actually converting. I have a built-in pool. He's putting a fire hose on it, and there's a valve that we could switch, and there's a fire hose.
And you have a generator?
And I have a generator.
And that'll be their last man's. Well, if you look at the Palisades, properties were saved.
That's right.
Caruso saved his entire strip mall.
Yes,
whole shopping center.
So I have that, and I'm in the process of replacing all the bark around my house. I had the tree trimmers come out. They're taking everything 6 feet away from the house. I'm in the middle of it.
What about plants right next to the house?
I talked to the guys about that. As long as the bark is, we're putting all rock around everything. They said if the plants are green and healthy, we should be okay. But I've cut those 2 feet away from the home. I'm in the middle of it.
So because you're gonna.
Oh, and it's gonna happen at some point in time. The insurance companies are gonna come out, look at my house where I live, and just say, okay, you can do this to be insured.
You do have a lot of oak trees around your house.
I do have a lot, but oaks aren't the problem. It's the underbrush.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why we got on that topic.
Anyway, because I've been thinking about it.
Oh, I have too. Yes. I told my wife and I don't know if there's a bill that passed in California. And new homes now, at least in the county where we reside, you can't have any vegetation within 5 feet of the house. So landscapes are designed so there's nothing. I told my wife the other day, I said, I think we're probably going to have to get rid of all of our plants that are within 5 feet of our house.
So I'll tell you a story.
And she's like, what?
So I'll tell you a story. So in Sacramento, there's this company called Sierra Pacific. And they installed my solar hot water for my pool, right?
Look at you. First of all, Pat's got a built-in pool.
It's not above ground.
It's a built-in pool. Now he's showing up. And he's got solar heating for the pool.
Like 1 out of 3 people in California. So
that's right.
So they sell generators too. And they sell this and they're a plumbing company. So I was trying to find a company for hardening. So I'm Googling Firescape, and it's all about clearing the landscape. None that could put sprinklers on the house, right? So if you look at the Palisades fire and you look at the ones that were saved,
they had water.
They had water. And they were mostly off of swimming pools. So I called the company, Sierra Pacific. This is 2 weeks ago.
It was a lack of water for most part. Granted, there was a high windstorm. Some homes would have burned regardless. But the vast majority, if there was enough water there, they would have been saved. And people, you can see by the houses where people stayed and had the pool pumps.
Yes. So I'm trying to find a company that will harden because I've got a swimming pool. I've already got a backup generator. It just needs connection. So I called this Sierra Pacific and I said, they had some guy answer. And I said, do you do this? And he said, no, I don't even know what you're talking about. I said, these are the components you need to harden a home in Sacramento. You might want to talk to someone in your company and see if this is something you should do. The owner of the company called me back in 4 hours and said, and this is a fairly decent sized company.
It's a big company.
He said to me, tell me what you're thinking. And I said, look, if you look at the Palisades
If you're
fire,
remotely involved in that industry, you could make a killing the next few years.
I said to him,
Sacramento, are you kidding me?
I said
the business opportunity is
I-
massive.
I said-
not just the next in perpetuity.
that's what I said. Look, in
fire-
the foothills of
Things are changing.
in the foothills of California, we live in the first foothill of the Sierra Nevadas, right? It is, and 100 years ago, there were fires that would come here every 3 or 4 years, and they would just burn all the underbrush. But that doesn't happen anymore.
They say in Southern California, I read this interesting. They said that most fires, forest fires, are started in brush fires by lightning. They have so few lightning storms in Southern California. They said it might be 100 years before there was a fire, and the brush would get so thick it'd be like a nuclear bomb went off. And when the Native Americans arrived, the Indians arrived, they would burn it. Took care of the problem, and then when I guess the white men came and slaughtered all the natives, or sent them, then they said we got no more forest fires, and then created the problem again.
Yeah, watch the movie The Big Burn or read the book. It talks about the forest fires. But anyway, so this guy calls me back, and we spend an hour on the phone or so talking. And I said, look, these are, I think, all the components. And then he said, well, you're going to need an actuator here and an actuator there. And
What's an actuator?
To change the valve from the solar, going through the solar to the sprinklers on the roof. And I'm like, you're talking about something I know nothing about. All I know is that I think you need a generation to generate electricity. You need pumps. You need a water source, and you need a place to stay. And he said to me, I'm going to call you back in a week or so. He said, I'm going to bring it to my team. And he said, and they're going to say, oh, not another crazy idea from this old man.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting.
Anyway, we're out of time. It's been fun chatting with you. We'll see you again next week. This has been Scott Hansen and Pat McClain of Money Matters, presented by Allworth here. And
if you like the show, please rate and follow so that it comes into your feed on a weekly basis.
This program has been brought to you by Allworth Financial, a registered investment advisory firm. Any ideas presented during this program are not intended to provide specific financial advice. You should consult your own financial advisor, tax consultant, or estate planning attorney to conduct your own due diligence.